kind of sick and tired of the current status quo with regard to kind of crypto wallets. So I put out a little status on Twitter, and then I got quite a few ZenGo tags saying we should be speaking to these guys to see about how good their product is and how it kind of flips the current understanding of wallets on its head. And after me and Ouriel had a brief introductory call a couple of weeks back, I tried it out, and I was just like, yeah, we have to have this conversation and try and get a few more people to kind of try this app out, because it feels like a fintech app, but it has all the capabilities of what you'd want from a crypto wallet. So we'll get into this, but first and foremost, how are you doing?
Doing good. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Just got back from Denver.
Yes, indeed. It was great.
Yeah. No, I wish I could have gone a little bit too far for a journey for me, and I have to head back to the UK next week. So I didn't really fancy those 2 long haul flights.
I confirm it's far, especially from Tel Aviv. It's like nearly 18 hours plus delays.
Oh no!
Yeah,
what was
exactly.
You haven't been struck by the super spreader event, have you? With a lot of people I know who had struck down with some kind of cold or flu or virus or whatever it is.
No, I mean I got another virus, the crypto virus. But this I had it before, so and there's nothing to remove it.
What was the general sentiment? Positive? Like, I suppose it's always nice to go to these things and see people who are just really, really enthusiastic about the space. But what was the general kind of the feeling, kind of consensus there? Everyone really happy or comfortable? I know the markets are a little bit.
Look, I would say overall fairly optimistic, but with reasonable, doubts. Everyone is like super bullish, and obviously there was electricity in the room, a lot of energy, a lot of people, a lot of companies, a lot of events, a lot of happy stuff, and a lot of drinking. But it cannot hide the reality in which we are, meaning that the industry is suffering a critical reputation harm because of what happened and what is still happening. And number 2, that we are in a broader context of crisis. So everyone is very mindful of the economics, of the the necessity to make revenues and not just to build nice products. But I would say overall it gave a good impression, and it was a good event.
Yeah, nice. All right, so let's get into it then. So can you just, because I'm completely unaware as well, and I'm sure some of the audience will be, as much or as little detail as you want to go in, what was your kind of trajectory into kind of this space? Is it I'd like to say there's a typical path that people get into when they get into the whole crypto and Web3 space, but it is very, from speaking to founders, it's just from all over the place. But so what was your kind of origin story in this space? I'd love to hear that.
So my path is extremely boring. I mean, it's not going to, I don't have a great story to tell, except that, I was extremely interested at some point by the space, to the point that I could not imagine doing anything else. And that's that. It took me a long time to get there. I started from being anti-crypto for many years, like really anti, thinking it was just bullshit and, dark web and stuff like that, to realizing that it was a new technological paradigm. And so that journey took me several years. And at some point I decided that that was it, and that I wanted to jump into that space, and I wanted to be part of that industry. That was 5 years ago. So, now it's considered a long time. The time it was like, you're arriving late. And, my story is that for 2 decades, I've been adopting early technologies, like of everything, early internet, early social media, early mobile apps, early everything. But for some reason, I was not early in crypto. At least at the time. Now you can say that retrospectively, I was early. And the tipping point for me was when I realized that you could build applications that would be significantly harder to stop or nearly unstoppable. And so that was a radical shift with what I knew so far, which was like building applications on top of the back of other platforms that could shut you down. And so for me, that was the starting point, to discover that, and then to discover what money was, the properties of money, how money was broken, how money could be improved, and so the virtues of Bitcoin and other currencies, and then snowballed to kind of discovering the importance of wallets and how broken they were, how broken they still are, and lead me to build ZenGo, the wallet that now I'm running.
Yeah, no, that's great. So I suppose obviously that's more of your origin story. Was there kind of a point during that story that kind of led you to actually building ZenGo, or is there any kind of quirks along that story of you deciding, wallets and kind of self-custody is the thing that you want to tackle? Like how did the whole ZenGo origin story come about?
Day out. Your next career move could be the one you never imagined. Web3 nomads. Everywhere jobs for anywhere people.
Well, when I started to learn about crypto, I did like everyone else. I started to buy a little bit and like read here, do that, try all the services. At the time, it was possible to try all the services. There were not so many. And so I tried the typical, like, go to an exchange, create a profile, KYC, buy some Bitcoin, move it to a wallet, stuff like that. And I started to get like profoundly disturbed by the experience of wallets. And I could not imagine that this technology was so revolutionary that it could be powering the future of finance, the future of virtually anything where there is a database, and that we will depend on this type of technology where you are asked to keep 24 words on a piece of paper or somewhere safe. It's still not, to me, it sounds insane that some people can think that this is the future. Like, I could not accept that reality. And even less the way it was executed, the products, or the way it was built, the hardware wallets, the insanity around it. And so I refused that reality. And that was point number one. Number two, I thought it was very important as a challenge, because if the crypto industry is going to be big, then that means that wallets are going to be central and primary point of entrance. And so probably some of the most important pieces of software ever built. So it seemed to me like at the same time an important problem, but also an exciting opportunity. And I decided that was, among many options, one of the things I wanted to build upon. And now the question was, okay, all right, now what do we do about it? And so that was kind of the starting point after having realized that was a good idea, but that, as usual, ideas are not enough. It's all about how you solve them and how you develop them.
Yeah, we definitely never going to get to mass adoption on even the paper wallets. Jeez, like I never had to have a paper wallet. Fortunately, I was like 2017, so primarily using centralized exchange. But when people were saying they're a paper wallet, I was like, what are you talking about? This cannot work. This just cannot go on forever. But I suppose very, very early stages. But so for those unaware, I'm sure people will have heard about you guys. But what is the kind of high level of what ZenGo is?
So ZenGo is a secure crypto wallet that has no seed phrase vulnerability, and that has not this insane set of like security setup you have to go through to have a self-custodial wallet. And the reason is that because it's not built like every other wallet. Okay, the comparison is a little bit like the car industry, where you have like thousands of cars, but and car brands, but you only have one Volvo or one BMW, right? And that is really secure. And the reason is because the technology that is powering it is radically better. So what do we do at ZenGo? On the front interface, it looks like a wallet. You have the ability to manage all sorts of cryptocurrencies, send, receive, buy, swap, etc. But the security is built on multi-party computation, MPC. And it's very, very different from typical public-private key cryptography, where the usual experience will give you like a seed phrase, a set of keywords that you need to write down somewhere safe and somehow manage. And in MPC, the difference is that you don't have like this single point or single factor of failure that, if compromised is game over. The security in MPC is by nature distributed. So when you create a ZenGo wallet, you don't have a private key or a seed phrase to store anywhere. It never exists in the first place. And the key management is distributed between different parties so that there is no single point of failure. And so the user is not aware of that. Okay, there's not like this typical like explanation of where we say this is how it works, but the user experience is magical. You download the wallet, you enter your email in email, even Proton Mail or anonymous email. You do an anonymous biometric scan on your phone, which is local. No one sees you. And that's it. And your wallet is created. And once you want to recover it, if you lose your phone, it's the same thing. You just do the same steps. And your account cannot be lost this way. It cannot be even like taken over by someone else because there's no seed phrase or password to even steal. So that's how ZenGo works. It's a secure crypto wallet that you cannot lose in a tweet, if I may say so.
Yeah, like as you say, after we had a quick conversation maybe 1 or 2 weeks ago, and I was really intrigued, so I tried it all out. And obviously, not just saying this because you're here. It was like signing into like a top tier fintech app, which kind of threw me a little bit because usual sign up, had the pen and paper ready. I was like, right, we've got 3 pieces of paper here. Where am I going to hide these? Where am I going to lose these this time? And then very pleasantly surprised that I didn't have to go through any of that kind of nonsense. And it was kind of one of those light bulb moments where I was like, are we finally getting to this stage now where we can actually do away with all this kind of obviously necessary at the time use cases to get people onboarded, but as I was saying earlier, the path to kind of this mass adoption that people keep professing over and saying there's going to be 100 million crypto and DeFi users, there's no way we're going to get it using like the current kind of status quo of apps that are on the market. And you just see every single week there seems to be a phishing scam or the Bored Ape Yacht Club guys. They get it worse than everyone. It always seems to be a seed phrase hack and things like that. So it was like one of those first moments in an industry where it was like you kind of remember it because it was like, oh yeah, we're moving in the right direction now. This is the kind of thing that people need to be completely getting on board with. So with that whole how you guys use MPC, why do others not use that? Like obviously you guys pick it up and it works so well. Why is that not as commonly used as your traditional kind of seed phrase? Is there any kind of reason behind that?
So now it's not the case anymore. Now MPC is like pretty widely used, but it's just that, we are probably the dominant player doing that because the others are like more recent. Now, to be clear, when we started, that was like 4 years ago, no one was doing MPC. Absolutely no one. And so we were probably the first company in the world to get started with that, definitely with an open source approach. Then came a few more companies like Fireblocks and a few others which serve institution. And so if you're looking at it from the point of view of like how much crypto is custodied with MPC technology, it's like a very, very big amount of the entire crypto cake. If you're looking now at the number of actors that are claiming to use or using MPC, we're talking about tens of companies. They are not well known yet, okay? But I hope at some point they will be, and we hope we will have competition. At this moment in the life of this industry, we are a dominant player as a retail wallet powered by MPC, and MPC is starting to become a fairly common expression known into all the industry conferences and research. At ETH Denver, it was a very, very important keyword. It was mentioned many times. And so it started to become a thing. And it took a while to arrive there. And the reason is because the technology was not ready. It was not prime. It's also a complicated technology to master. Many companies doing MPC actually don't do it themselves. They use third parties. Sometimes they use even our own library, or they're using an MPC vendor. It's difficult. It's cutting edge cryptography. It's very easy to make mistakes and don't want to make mistakes with cryptography. And more importantly, it's very difficult to take the cryptography and transform it into usable product. I mean, the magical moment that you saw with ZenGo, that you move from like 0 to wallet in like 10 seconds, the number of insane amount of details that are happening behind the scene that you don't realize is extremely deep. And so it's not like everyone that can wake up one day and say, all right, let's take an MPC library and transform that into a wallet. It's as if you were saying, all right, let's take a piece of storage and build Amazon.com around it. Okay, it's like there's a journey, right, to arrive there.
Yeah.
You need multiple elements of engineering and user experience and customer support and anti-fraud and all kinds of things to arrive to that simple result. And so it's difficult to build it's difficult to build a crypto wallet, period. But to build an MPC crypto wallet is even more difficult. And so people don't realize that. They throw that as a keyword, as a buzzword, as if it was like, yeah, we'll do an MPC wallet and we're going to take the market. It's not. It's like incredibly difficult, incredibly complicated. There are so many details to execute that really well. And the product doesn't do justice to the effort because it looks so simple. But as usual, simple things in life are hard to achieve. And so this is something that is profoundly misunderstood when, like, for example, investors, they look at the market, they see all those wallets, say, oh, all these wallets, like, easy to make, easy to copy.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
It's just a UI. That's it. Anyone can design.
Exactly. It's a UI with a 10 button and a 0 and a 1, and that's it. It's like building a car. And just to take that analogy, today crypto wallets, they feel like the majority of crypto wallets, the hardware wallet, extension, the mobile wallet, they are like cars that can run 200 kilometers per hour. So they can run pretty fast, but they don't have brakes. They don't have alarm system. They don't have airbags. They don't have car crash monitoring. They don't have security belt. They don't have lock on their door. And they ask to the driver, figure it out. Be in charge of your own security. And that's a reality that is insane. Like I personally refuse to accept that this is going to be like that forever. And so we're building the car that has all of those things: the seat belt, the door key, the airbag, the car crash detection, and that is built in by default. You don't need to think about it. And so I think this is the future, and we're building the wallet of the future, not the wallet of the past.
Yeah, I think that's it. Just to pick up on something you just said there. So, like, the whole idea of being your own bank and being this kind of sovereign kind of peoples is the whole idea of crypto and DeFi. But what I think people get misconstrued is it's possible to do that in a way that isn't extremely over convoluted and complex. So the idea that people say, well, if you want to take on the risk of being your own bank and these are the risks that you've got to take, I don't necessarily think that's correct. And as we were saying with how easy it was to set you guys up, I think that whole idea of if you want to be your own bank, you've got to take on this additional risk. I think that's a bit of a stupid thing to say. And I do hear and see that like a lot in the industry. Is the idea to get the end goal to be at a point where people don't necessarily realize they're using a wallet and it's kind of completely abstracted away from the user, or is that where we're headed, do you think?
I don't think it's like black or white. I think you will have many types of wallets in many shapes or form. Some of them will be like invisible and embedded and part of like certain apps built in. You won't even realize it. And that will be one reality for wallets. And certain will be like just personal primary wallet. I think we already have that in the banking world where you have like, we all have a bank account, but also you have like virtual bank accounts when using a fintech app, right? Or a lending service in the real world money, right? And the two realities coexist. It's not one or the other. So I think we are heading to a world where wallets will be invisible and embedded, but also where personal and primary wallet will be there for one simple reason. At some point, you need to have a consolidated place where you manage all your assets, where you start and where you end journeys, regardless of the app or the asset that you are using. One thing, though, is I think over time, wallets are beginning to become simpler to use, whether they are embedded or whether they are personal primary wallets, and they are going to become more secure. The state of affairs right now is an absolute joke and a disaster. I mean, including hardware wallets. I mean, if you think about it, you have to not only buy a hardware wallet, you have to buy two in case something happens to the first one. It's very likely something is going to happen to the first one. And then you have to back up the seed phrase. I need to find now a solution to back up that seed phrase. And then you need to find all sorts of like solutions for when you transact online, if you're going to make the right transactions, and what happens if you die, like all these kind of insane questions. And so this reality is not acceptable. Like it can't be the future. And if that was like that in the real world money, we would all kill each other. Okay, there would be no society. And so obviously, and this is actually what's happening in crypto. All those crypto funds are like murders. Okay, they are murders, digital murders of people's life in crypto. They're getting their funds stolen either by design or by mistake, and that obviously cannot be the foundation of a stable society. So something better will happen, and I think wallets over time will get better. I think MPC will be a defining category and technology for enabling that. There will be other technologies too. I think, account abstraction, for example, will be one of them for Ethereum wallets. Multi-sig could be also one of them. But seed-based single-factor wallets, to me, are an accident of nature, and that cannot be the future. It's impossible.
Yeah, I completely agree. I wouldn't have until I tried the app, though, because the issue is you don't know what you don't know until you haven't tried a few things out. And it just got to the point a couple of weeks back where I was like, this cannot be the way that we kind of progress forward. And I was trying to help onboard my dad and trying to show him MetaMask, and the amount of time I was spent trying to coach him through it, I was like, this really can't go on. I don't have time to do this. And that's kind of what got me to kind of look at what else was on the market, even just as a kind of standard personal wallet to hold. So yeah, it's been really refreshing to use it and see kind of how the industry can move forward with the likes of your product and things like that. Can you touch upon the recovery kit and the whole idea behind that? Because I think that's really, really impressive as well.
Yeah, so the recovery kit, so ZenGo is self-custodial. So ZenGo is not capable of spending the funds of the user or starting the recovery of an account. We don't have control on the funds. So the user has to be still in control. Now, how do you make it in control without going through all the steps that can cause an error, right? So we allow him to create a recovery kit. He's actually doing it as he creates his account. It's the same thing. It's not an additional step. So while you create your account, you are creating a recovery kit, which is a very simple file that you are going to store into your cloud of choice, which can be iCloud, Google Drive, Dropbox. You can use actually the three of them in case one of them fails or disappears. And that file is one of the elements that is necessary out of free so that you can recover your account. So the way it works is that you buy a new phone. Let's say you lost your phone, you buy a new phone, and you want to recover your ZenGo account. So you install the app, you use the same email address that you used when you signed up. Okay. You connect to the same cloud that you used when you signed up. On iPhone, it's iCloud by default. On Android, it's Google Drive by default. If you lost both of them, Dropbox will be offered as an option. And you scan your biometrics on the phone. It's a local, anonymous, private biometric scan, which is doing liveness biometrics. It looks like what you look like and how you behave, not just a mask. And that's it. And you back in. And that file that is stored on your cloud is helping decrypt the second shard of the MPC, talk a bit of technical terms, that we host while you're recovering your account. So we can't use it. And so you decrypt it. And so the authentication mechanism with the email and with the biometrics unlocks your account back. And so what that means is that only the person who controls those three elements can restore their account. You need to have the email, the file, and the face. If one of them is missing, you can't access the account. And if for any reason someone hacks into your email or hacks into your Dropbox or your Google Drive or iCloud, as it's often the case, they can't do a thing. They can't access your account. So all the hacks that you've heard about during the past years, they can't happen on ZenGo. It would have to be extremely sophisticated attack. And to this day, we had 0 case of account theft. 0. None. Not a single one. So it speaks to the validity of the model. And so that's how it works. And the magic, you feel it when you try it. Like, I know you created an account, you told me, but if you want to feel it, just delete the app completely, reboot your phone, the app will be gone, and restore it. And you'll see that you'll have a haha moment, right? And people feel that when they buy new phones where they have to restore those apps and the second factor of this and the seed phrase of that and say, oh my God, where did I put all those things? Well, with ZenGo, it's like butter. You just install the app, you do all those things, and you back in. So it's really a truly magical moment.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Even if anyone's quite new into the industry and just listening out for a first time, always kind of run through a kind of fire drill of what would happen if your laptop died for some obscene reason. Mine's currently getting fixed. Like for some reason that's in the shop. Or if you were to lose your phone, my girlfriend's got a habit of losing her phone. She lost that last week. 2 Google authenticators on there, can't get into her accounts. Always good to run through these fire drills. And like, as you say, with the ZenGo app, if you were to just delete it and try and, even if you don't deposit anything in there, just delete it, retry it. Then at least you know if anything bad were to happen or you to lose your device, then you very, very easily be able to get in. So there'll be quite a lot of, yeah. I'm just very, very paranoid, so I do this stuff quite a lot. There'll be quite a lot of kind of DeFi users and listeners listening, thinking, is this the kind of app for them? Like, what kind of functionality could you get directly on chain, as it were, with current kind of applications that are currently out there?
So ZenGo is a full Web3 wallet. You can do anything that you would do with any Web3 wallet. It's not just Web3. It does also Bitcoin and Dogecoin. It's really multi-chain, like truly multi-chain L1, not multi-chain EVM. But if you want to do DeFi, you can do, all right? So you have in the wallet an on-ramp and off-ramp, also a built-in swap service. You have also the option to connect to applications of your choice if you don't want to use the one that we are delivering, shipping into the app, and you connect to an NFT platform, a DeFi service, a lending service through Wallet Connect. Now, the true piece of magic into what we offer and why we are a better option for DeFi versus all other Web3 wallets is not just because the security of the account with MPC, is because we also offer built-in transaction security. So what is transaction security? You are now going to use your wallet and you're going to connect it to an application, an NFT marketplace or whatever. And when you connect to an application, you have to give permission to that application to use the funds in your wallet. And many malicious actors use that capability to drain your wallet. All right, they make you sign malicious transactions, and you don't understand what you are signing because of the nature of the transaction and the steps and the unreadability of the hash and the transaction that you are signing. So this is in any wallet on the market. And so you've seen it during the past few months pop up all sorts of like extensions that you have to add on top, but they work only on the computer, they don't work on mobile, and they don't work on any browser. Well, none of that with ZenGo. It's baked into the wallet directly. There is a firewall called ClearSign baked into the transactions that you are making into the wallet that analyze the contract that you are about to interact with and tells you in human readable way whether this is okay or dangerous. Okay, it's like red, green, orange light. And so you decide what you want to do. We don't block you from doing it. If you want to really lose your money, you can, but it's very clear that you're about to lose your money. And so we were the first company in the world to pioneer that approach. Now there are tens of companies providing that as a service or as an extension or as a whatever. And we've fairly advanced in that race. Like we're doing a pretty good job there. We've prevented a countless number of users from losing their funds, including sophisticated ones. You said at the beginning, a wallet for people who are not familiar with crypto. We believe this is the opposite. We believe this is the ideal wallet for someone that is in crypto, that is advanced in crypto, because you don't get this protection anywhere else, both at the account and the transaction level. And this without thinking about add-ons and toggles and extensions. It's all there. And so you cannot make, the number of mistakes you can make is like virtually zero. It's there. And so it's great for secure DeFi, okay? Not just for DeFi or NFT. It's good for secure NFT, whether you are minting or trading or selling. Figuring out what you're about to do before you do it is very, very important, because this is the only way to save a critical mistake. And once you gave the wrong approval, it's game over. Kevin Rose 3 weeks ago, lost $2 million. And he's in the industry. It's not a noob, right? He knows what he's doing, but it's just that the wallets that he's using, whether they are hardware or software, are unfit to surface those complexities and those dangers. And so we are here with the wallet that can protect you against those things. So it's a secure Web3 wallet that you can use, and that is very, very capable of protecting you.
Yeah, I mean I think that's really important because while we're doing a lot of research for some of the projects that we write on, usually try to be at the cutting edge, and you might be using protocols that have been written from the ground up, and sometimes you're looking at it and thinking, right, I've never really signed a transaction like this before, or I've never deposited into this specific type of contract or things like that. But it would be nice, to see like on your regular wallet to see what you're actually signing. Even Uniswap, probably 6 weeks ago, they've added an additional sign transaction for all swaps, so approve, sign. And then the first time I seen that, I was checking my browser, am I on uniswap.org? Should I just use Matcha instead? Because I know that's going to go through. So that kind of threw me. But even when it comes up to the signing, and it's just like that might as well be in hieroglyphics for me when it pops up like on a MetaMask wallet, what I'm actually signing. So you're completely blind signing. And I know that a lot of the NFT kind of community and things like that, they've been continually targeted for blind signing and lost an awful lot of funds doing that. So it's nice to have that human readable format as well. So yeah, go and check it out. It's cool.
Yeah, as usual in security, it's not about what is possible by adding on, is what is possible by default, right? I think the default is always the rule for security. Whatever is the default is what most people will do. If by default a wallet tells you to safe keep 24 words, well, that's how you protect it, how you keep your 24 words. If by default a wallet doesn't have built-in transaction protection and you have to add something, well, people will not do that. That's always about the default. And I think this is something that is not well understood enough in crypto. Like it's always like, yeah, but you can add on this. Like people don't think that way. They don't add on. They use whatever is there. And if it's not there, it's not going to be used. I think it's a good rule of security, the default rules.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So primarily mobile first. Is there any kind of plans to go browser or even local desktop, or do you think the future would be mobile? I know like certain parts of the world, like I'm living in Asia at the minute, and that's completely mobile first. That's what people do out here. It's some parts of the world, maybe back in the UK, would tend to use a desktop. But what's your guys' opinion on that, and like the kind of foresight that you guys have on that?
So without a doubt, crypto is desktop first today. I mean, it's built, but it's not because it's used on crypto on desktop first. It's because it's built for desktop first. Developers, when they build applications and services, they built it for the desktop. Why? Because the majority of the people who build those products are developers, and you develop applications when you're a developer on the desktop. So that's kind of been the legacy of crypto over the first 12 years. It's a desktop first environment. But without a doubt, also, the majority of screens available in the world are mobile phones and not computers. And especially in the region of the world where you're in, people have only a phone or at best a tablet, not a computer. So you have to reconcile those two things. So ZenGo is a mobile-only wallet today. You can be used with desktop application. Like if you go to any DeFi app, you can link your mobile wallet with a desktop app, and you can use it on your computer. So you're not cut off from the usage of desktop if you want to. That being said, we may consider in the future an extension. An extension doesn't mean a Chrome extension. An extension as a company to the desktop. There are multiple ways to do that. And it's not on the roadmap short term immediately. Immediately, there are many, many things that are coming in the field of security. Maybe we will talk about that. But desktop might be somewhere along the lines and of development. Right now, we like the choice that we made, also because the mobile environment is by default, is more secure than the desktop environment by default, right? There are many sorts of attacks that are way harder on a mobile phone. Also, there are specific attacks that only can happen on a mobile phone. For example, stealing a device. Like stealing a device from someone is way easier, to pick it from the hands of someone than a computer that is on the table or in a bag. So there is a different type of environment here. But we like the choice that we made because it enables us to access as many people as possible, but also you still have the capability of creating that link with the desktop, and maybe along the lines we will develop something for the computer.
Okay, nice. You touched upon it a little bit there. So what that you can go into, what is kind of on the like maybe short to medium term kind of roadmap for you guys? Anything that you can kind of give us a little hint on?
Well, this is where MPC is becoming really important as a technology. If you think about MPC, it's a way of distributing security versus like when you are your own bank, you distribute it with yourself. That means that it's not distributed. And so you are in charge of your own bank and you are your chief officer or security officer in a way. And so the beauty of MPC is that you can, by distributing the roles without being a liability to the user, you can augment, you can assist his experience in different type of situations. So I'm not going to give you a specific example of where this can be useful because I don't want to reveal good news before they happen and before we made them available to everyone. But there are 5 or 6 critical risks in the life of a user that exist regardless of which wallet he's going to use, that are today unaddressed completely by the market. And they are very, very important. And there are very important use cases of protection, of self-protection, of how you deal with assets that are today unaddressed. And so we're going to address them thanks to the technology that we have. And this is going to be the focus of ZenGo in 2023 and probably 2024, like to go really, really deep into personal security to a point where when you will look back at other wallets, it's very unlikely you will want to use any other wallets after that. Like the fact that you will know that those features exist will make it so much desirable than any alternative. So sorry for not being able to give you spoilers.
That's but all right. Don't give the game away.
The worst will be the wait will be worth it.
There might be competitors listening as well, so don't give that away too early.
Who knows? Who knows? I heard there's only 500 wallets out there.
So where would you like people to come find you guys? Is it just through Twitter or? Obviously, there's the
well, I would love to invite everyone to visit our office, but it's a little small, so they can find us here in Tel Aviv, but it's going to be complicated. Also, long trip. The best way would be online, of course, ZenGo.com, our website, on Twitter at ZenGo, or just go to the App Store, the Play Store, Google ZenGo. There are not many apps called ZenGo, so you will find us very quickly. And try it. I think the best presentation is to try the product, to see for yourself what we're talking about, to compare to whatever you've used in the past, whether this is in crypto or not. And I think it will give you a pretty good idea of what the future can look like.
Yeah, just to reiterate all that, just go and give it a go. And then you'll kind of realize. So, Ouriel, thanks very much for your time. Really appreciate that. And when those little hints are beginning to get rolled out, let's do it again and we can show them off on screen. But congratulations on the wallet, and I think it's about to kind of get its much needed and much deserved attention because it is like a fantastic app. And yeah, it just makes using like your standard apps that might have a fox as the logo look a little bit stupid, I think. All right, take it easy, everyone, and we'll speak to you next time.